So I'm having a chat with Tom Jenkins. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Nice to be here, Jim, talking
Yeah,
to you.
pleasure to have you. Let's have a little chat about some music because we've been playing a single of yours called "Blame It." Tell us a little bit
Right.
about the single first of all.
Yeah, Blame It. Yeah, it's off Meadow Part Two, which is kind of like an album I've released in two parts, and it's on the second half. And yeah, Blame It's just kind of one of those songs. It was just written really quickly, and it doesn't really mean anything, and it's just kind of more of a feel really than like anything, like specific like song you know, like theme or story. So yeah, it's just kind of feel kind of like a feel good song, I guess, because the rest of the album's quite like close to the bone.
Yeah, nice. And as you've mentioned, this latest record's come in two parts. What was the reason behind doing that?
I don't know really. It was just kind of like I guess the kind of way that like modern music is released these days, and how it's just so easy to kind of just I don't know, be overwhelmed maybe by like a new artist and an album. So it was kind of like, just kind of like tapping into the okay, maybe this will be easier to consume if it's just split into halves. And it kind of worked out because the first half got like picked up, and people were like really into it, and it kind of people were looking forward then to like the second half of the album. So yeah, it's just kind of just trying something different. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you've released a few albums prior to this. What
Yeah.
makes this album different to those previous ones?
Well, the first album was like recorded in Texas, and it was like full production, like producer, and the second album was like kind of done in lockdown in a in a friend's studio, and we had so much time to just play with it and add to it, and it just became this really like overproduced like I love the sound of it, but it's like so it just sounds massive. And yeah, this and I guess and it's so expensive to make albums. I kind of wanted to kind of, try my own hand at producing and engineering. So I kind of recorded like quite a lot of it myself, produced it all myself, and then my friend Todd kind of done more of the full band stuff, the recording of drums, and but it was just kind of like a project. And also it was about like recording songs live, like maybe just on one mic and just like capturing that moment instead of like just being in the studio and just like, just really like going nuts on the song. So yeah, it was more like capturing and just like capturing that vibe and that feel and that kind of like authenticity then that hopefully shines through then in the music.
Yeah, nice. And the
A
sound
bit
that
more rustic.
yeah, the sound that you've created with this record then, is it the sound that you wanted to create, or is it simply just how it turned out?
No, it's definitely I definitely wanted to go more folk and country, and um I just kind of the sort that kind of genre kind of I've been invited out on tours with like some big like country names like Ryan Bingham and Megan Maroney. She's more like the pop end. But I was just kind of like I did never really class myself as like country, but it was kind of always slipping back into that. Um yeah, and like to be, Ryan, who's like a Oscar and Grammy winning songwriter, you kind of, and I've like inspired by like so much of that. I love all that kind of like modern, like real country music, and like him and Charlie Crockett and a few others. So yeah, I kind of lent into that. I'm more like, like Bob Dylan, and like, I love all that kind of stuff. And I just thought, just strip it right back to its just to the strength of songwriting, and so that was the kind of main objective.
And do you think you might continue this sound going forward, or do you think you'll try some new things, revert back? What's the idea, do you
No,
think?
we definitely going back in time. The new album. So I've been recording two albums at the same time. So this Meadow album was just like a kind of experiment to see how we could like, work with this type of recording and more like live sounding and live recording. So we're going to take this into the next album, which we started recording at the same time as we were doing Meadows. We all got a bit confusing, and but yeah, got an album called When the Coal Dust Settled, and it's basically a very you know, a lot of rich history and heritage of, you know, ex-coal mining communities where I'm from, and my family of coal miners and farmers. So it's a very traditional, you know, the subjects are very traditional, and also we wanted that like authentic traditional sound then to kind of, you know, I don't think it would kind of, you know, electronica album wouldn't really kind of put the message across, I don't think. So, you know, it's that was the kind of main reasons really. So
Yeah, nice. And I'd like to talk a little bit about the writing side of things as well. So for you, how do tracks tend to start off?
I don't know really. It's kind of like I'm a farmer and I spend a lot of my time on my own, just like, you know, out in the nature and wilderness, and yeah, so I just kind of like, yeah, I just, yeah, so I have a lot of time to think about like songs and kind of, but I don't know, it's like sometimes a song will come to you, you know, just messing about on the guitar, or, you know, I don't know, like sometimes in a sound check on tour, like just start writing a song. I don't really sit down to write a song, if you know what I mean. I just let it come naturally and try and make the writing as like honest and like authentic as possible, really, you know. But yeah, there's no real no rhyme or reason how I do it. I just let it kind of like the natural creative process to, you know, run its course then. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And what about the lyrics side of things? Because a lot of artists struggle with the lyrics in particular. What's the
Yeah.
lyrics like for you?
I've never really had any no problems with lyrics, you know. As I said, like almost constantly like inspired by, you know, I'm quite lucky in a sense that I've, you know, as I said, you know, I'm farming. I traveled like with the world shearing sheep, and I've met a lot of cultures and lots of different characters and inspiring. You know, I come from a like quite, you know, they call it the land of song, Wales. So, you know, in these communities and post-industrial communities with like quite a lot of hardship, and you know there's always, you know, and just, you know, songs about like even my personal life, you know, I kind of, you know, I don't know, I just find the lyrical side like I find, yeah, I just find like the writing easy, and like it's just, yeah, just let it come natural, you know. No, don't just, you know, go right, I've got to write the song today. It's like, you know, I might go 6 months though writing a song, and then I'll write like seven in a week, you know. So so yeah, that's kind of like my process really.
Nice. And I bet you can't wait to be playing these tracks live. So you've got
Yes.
some shows at the end of this month. Bet you can't wait for them.
Yes, so next week I'm going out with Cardinal Black, and yeah, I'm going to play a lot of new songs, I think. And their crowds are always like usually really polite and good listeners, you know, which is always quite hard when you stand there with like an acoustic guitar in front of like 700 people. So trying to win them all over. So yeah, they will. So yeah, really looking forward to playing the new songs here next week in Chester, Southampton, and Milton Keynes, if you're about.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And what's gonna happen after that? Because we're then into festival season. I'm sure there's loads more tour dates. What's your plan for the rest of this year?
Yeah, so I'm just at the moment, I'm kind of like taking a step back off the touring, and just kind of getting this another album I'm working on, getting that finished, and just really setting that in place, and having a good, you know, maybe focusing on the end of the year then really for touring, and you know, there's a few things in the pipeline. But yeah, like, as I said, I'm just, you know, I'm just really focused on finishing this album. It's a really important album to me when the cold dust settled. So so yeah, I just want to get that right and then just go from there, really. So yeah, that's the plan.
Great. Tom, it's been a pleasure having a chat with you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Take care.